Where Ends Meet has been kind of a stunning surprise, I have to be honest. When I started to see some stuff about it, I assumed that it was a fake game. I legitimately thought that the game wasn't real. It was just overpromising and doomed to underdeliver. And what I've come to find after 50 hours is quite the opposite. In fact, the game has delivered on so many things. Maybe too many things. You want to heal other players and heal their falls and their injuries and their poison and so on and so forth. You can do that. Do you want to be their lawyer, practice the gift of gab, and try to defeat NPCs at their own sharp-tongued wits? You can do that. You want to be a bounty hunter where you only hunt players that break the law? You can do that. And it's kind of wild that those options are available. These kind of lifestyle experiences are available to you. It's kind of crazy. On top of that, I found that the combat on recommended mode is incredibly enjoyable. Dodge, parry, deflect, the usual kind of stuff that you find in Souls-ish combat. I hesitate to call it a Souls-like because it certainly isn't. There are teleport waypoints, I suppose, but it's incredible how difficult these world bosses are. The game is massive. I mean, massive, 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 massive. There are things to explore and see. And as a person who loves Red Dead Redemption and, GTA and open world exploration, historical kinds of games, I mean, this game, as a live service game, it kind of scratches an itch that I didn't really feel in quite some time, where I can explore a fictionalized landscape, but also in this case with the wuxia elements, also have this fantastical approach to it, and that sort of historical fantasy is really something that just scratches my brain in the best sense of the word. It is so delightful to be able to run really fast and glide along the water and see these beautiful cutscenes with dancers floating in the air and backflipping onto the ground perfectly. And in terms of the weapon combinations, it's also really interesting. You know, the game does a great job of telling you what the ideal weapon combos are, whether you're a tank or a ranged DPS or a, melee DPS and so on and so forth. There is some customization there that is really nice, a lot of player agency in deciding, what are the stats, what are the traits you want to use, what are the stats you want to use. There's a lot of that in here that's really just, I think, delightful. In fact, I was able to reset all of my points because originally I was doing a dual wielding and using a rope dart, but I ended up not really liking the rope dart, and so I decided to pivot over to a ranged DPS. So I did a ranged DPS umbrella, and I did a fan. Both of those being DPS, and the way that they synergize, although it's a little clunky, the way they synergize is really amazing. There's move sets. It reminds me very much of a lot of the other MMOs I play, especially Guild Wars 2. Like, there's some sort of synergy there. Certain weapons and things kind of synergize together in a really beautiful way that's really, really exciting. I love being able to use like the fan barrier ability that deflects from oncoming projectiles, and then pivoting over knowing that it does extra damage when I shoot a projectile from my umbrella. It's super fun. I mean, just the dynamics at play there are exceptional. There's also 5-man sort of, I wouldn't call them dungeons, but 5-man boss fights. And they just opened up at level 50, they just opened up like 10-man raids, which are really satisfying. They're basically, think trials from Final Fantasy XIV, or basically bosses that have mechanics in them, raid-like mechanics, which are really, really satisfying and really fun. They're very unique, and the whole game is just like, more than anything, is just, it's so random. It just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't work. The other day I was walking around and I found a golden weasel. And it was farting every 5 feet. And apparently if you like collect 4 of those, I forget what happens, but it's like the most random shit. Like, why is this weasel randomly walking around me farting? It's just strange. It's a hodgepodge of stuff, and it just works. And the music too is really understated, but also very powerful at times. There's this one particular boss fight against a witch. The boss music not only fit her so well, but you also felt the sense of stress and the fact that this witch is like actually kind of terrifying. And also is so difficult that I still find her terrifying when I'm playing the weekly version, or the version that you can play to get rewards. She's very scary. On top of that, I found that the music in the open world is so delightfully peaceful. It has this wonderful ambiance that is still melodic, but it lends itself to this, you kind of just put it on and, wander around. It doesn't pull away, it doesn't detract. It's really something. There was a track I was listening to the other day as sunset was hitting. That was just wonderful. There's also, of course, a music mini game, a la rhythm game that you can play with different Chinese instruments. And there was one I was playing the other day that was just so exceptionally sublime on the Erhu of all things. And then earlier, I randomly stumbled into this like really opulent, I don't know how you would describe it, but essentially like an opulent ceremony place where you can watch dancers and play chess and eat food and whatever. The most gorgeous singing. And it's amazing. I'm really blown away by the music. And more than anything, I feel like this is like they want to tell a world story where there are individual side quests and there's a main story that one follows, so on and so forth. But the world itself feels so like brimming with life. NPCs going about their daily business, hanging out. It's really something. After 50 hours, I can't help but just feel really satisfied with, if I were to stop right now, which I really don't want to, I would feel so happy. It's crazy that this is a live service game. It's crazy that it's free to play. It's crazy that there is so much just like kind of bubbling over the surface in this game. Yes, there is a component of gacha for skins, but honestly, like there's no pay to win. I mean, I guess there's pay to look good, but then or pay to buy like a $50,000 ship or however much it is. It's an absurd amount of money, but all told, like you don't even need to engage with it. And something that I actually complain about a lot within the gacha space is the fact that most of the time in gacha games, you just are hunting for the in-game currency to pull the next character. Whereas here, there are so many really cool outfits that are received from like just grinding and playing the game. You play the game with friends, you get you have the option to get a really cool skin or outfit. You do the same thing when you don't join a sect and you do certain, things, you get certain currency. There are a lot of currencies in this game, for better or for worse. Then you get that skin, which that armor, which is super cool. Yes, obviously, if you want to pour money into this game with the gacha and gamble away, you are welcome to do so. And the skins are opulent and definitely showcase that you have spent your money. They actually kind of pull you out of the game experience though. So in some ways, the skins that I've gotten just from playing without even doing any grinding are super satisfying to look at, and actually I feel like they fit the mold of the game. Same with the mounts. Yeah, you could go and buy the dog, or the mount with the treasure that allows you to pick up herbs or whatever if you want to, or you just go and steal someone's horse, and then you have that horse in your like roster of horses that you can ride. And also, frankly, you don't even need mounts, because at one point you get the ability to run really fast, or to, do the sky dance thing where you're slashing through the air and you end up, freaking flying through the air. So why would you even need a mount? I personally don't really have a problem with the way that it's priced. I know that that's going to be a soft spot for people, and some people will care about this, but this stuff's been going on in MMOs for years and years and years now. I'm kind of used to there being a store, and you want to look cool, well, pay $10 or $20 or $30. It's kind of something I'm used to now. I'm desensitized to it. Not even talking gacha, which I'm very desensitized to, but again, it's like something that's so not really there. It makes up like 5% of it. Now there is stamina for things, and you do have, I suppose, limits, but again, that doesn't really bother me. Also, like weekly limits to do things, like that's just par for the course for MMOs, even though this isn't an MMO really. Yeah, every time I boot it up, I'm just like, what am I going to do now? The possibilities kind of feel endless at this stage, even 50 hours in. And apparently even just this base launch patch is like 150 hours of content. But honestly, it feels like it would be more. There's just tons of stuff. And the funny thing is that like you'll go and do something, and suddenly you're in this like really like meaningful quest. And it's all to like, because you wanted to get a certain trait or a certain like passive for your character, for your specific build. It's all kind of there, and God, I mean, it's stunning. It's just like a beautiful thing. And I think for me, like what makes it exciting is just the fact that I know it's going to keep going. I know that there's more stuff. It's been out in China for a year. So I know that like the 4th map or whatever is bigger than this map, which is already huge. So I mean, like for me, third person historical adventure fantasy stuff, like I'm freaking beyond excited. And I have more thoughts on the music, but I just like really felt like it was time to at least like put out a video. Like, this game blew me away and has shocked me. I want to play it all of the time, and I have other things that I need to be doing. And like, it's weird because it's not like a honeymoon phase thing where it feels like, oh, I'm going to put it down eventually. Like, yeah, it's great. I'm really hyper focused on it. I'm love bombing the shit out of this game. Not really. Like, this is a game that is permanently in my rotation right now. Maybe I'll take breaks for months at a time or whatever, but it's going to be one of those games that's always installed. I'm also curious to see how it runs on mobile. My biggest concern is just the fact that they're going to start sneaking in ways to kind of milk the cow. And that's really a problem. Like, if there was a whole thing that happened recently, in case you haven't played it yet, where they released a skin and essentially like it wasn't super clear that it increased in currency cost each time you went to go for it. And then apparently the skin was like a certain rate in China, but then global was a different thing. Extremely frustrating. Like, that is bad. That should not happen. The game has a lot of goodwill right now. It's, this past weekend, it was like 250,000 players playing this game. Like, there's so much that's going for this. I would hate to see it be tarnished by trying to sneak in some easy money. And that would really be the downfall of the game, I think, because again, the catch is always like, what's the catch with free to play? That's the rub. What about this is really icky? Personally, right now, there's really nothing that's icky about it. I hope it stays that way. Let's circle back in 6 months. I'm kind of, I'm nervous, but at the same time, like, it's just a joy. It's just a freaking joy to play this. The farm is really good. The end game content is good. Like, so far so good. Like, I've got really no complaints. Literally 2 weeks ago, before the game came out, I was like, this game is not even freaking real. Because how are you doing all of this? How are you throwing all this random stuff in here and so much character and personality and charm in it? It's astounding. It is such a good time. If you're a little on the fence about it, the menus are terrible. It is impossible to navigate menus. It feels like it takes like 5 hours just to learning where everything is in the game. It's very overwhelming. The minute you enter into the space, it's teeming with things to do. And I don't really feel like it's like a collectathon, which would make it a little bit kind of like an Assassin's Creed or something, which is very overloaded and bloated with random stuff that's kind of non-essential. Everything kind of serves a purpose. And I think that's part of the live servicey aspect of it. That's kind of nice. It's like structured in the same way that a gacha game would be structured. So that's very overwhelming. I know a person who actually got a headache because they were so overloaded with like information overload at one point. Overall, like, the menus are the biggest downfall. Oh, and the combat feels good, but the movement itself can be a little floaty. But other than that, once you get used to that, I don't know, it's shockingly good. Yeah. Thanks.